One of India's biggest eyewear brands finally hit the stock market after months of hype. Investors were buzzing, analysts were watching, and founder Peyush Bansal called it day zero. But when Lenskart's shares actually listed, they opened below the issue price. Yes, despite a blockbuster 7,278 crore IPO, the market's first reaction was, well, kind of blurry. So what exactly happened on listing day? Why did the excitement fade so quickly? And what does this say about how investors view India's new age consumer startups? Let's break it down. Lenskart's shares debuted on the 10th of November. And here's how the numbers looked. On the NSE, shares opened at 395 rupees, about 1.75% below the issue price. On the BSE, they started even lower at 390, down 2.99%, nearly 3%. It was not a total disaster, just a muted start. But right after listing, the stock plunged nearly 10% before recovering about 5% later in the day. So yes, there was some buying interest eventually, but it was a pretty shaky start for a company with so much pre-listing hype. And remember, this was not just any IPO. This was one of the most anticipated listings of 2025 after brands like Mamaearth and Boat paved the way for India's D2C companies to hit the markets. The IPO was subscribed 28.27 times overall, showing strong demand during bidding. But things changed quickly when the grey market premium, or GMP, started sliding. Let's take a look at the timeline of events. Late October, GMP was at a strong 120 rupees, suggesting investors expected a big debut. By the 7th of November, it fell to about 15 rupees. By the 9th of November, a day before listing, it crashed to just 6 rupees 50 paise. That's a 95% drop from its peak, which was a big red flag that sentiment had turned. So what caused that? Analysts say it was a mix of valuation concerns, market fatigue, and profit-taking ahead of the debut. Let's talk about what the experts are saying, and honestly, they're not exactly buying into the hype. Some analysts are raising eyebrows over the stock's valuation, calling it too expensive for where the company currently stands. One even put it this way: sometimes not buying is also a position. Others say the stock feels overpriced and overhyped. Sure, they agree the short-term market reaction could go either way. That's just how IPOs work. But the real concern is whether this valuation can hold up over time. So, even before the listing, there was a sense that Lenskart's market buzz did not fully match its business fundamentals, at least not yet. And that could help explain why the debut, while much anticipated, did not exactly shine as brightly as many investors had hoped for. Meanwhile, Lenskart's founder Peyush Bansal stayed remarkably optimistic. Just a day before the listing, he posted on social media platform LinkedIn saying, and I quote, "It doesn't feel like an ending, it feels like day zero." He thanked his employees, partners and customers, even inviting them to share selfies wearing Lenskart glasses to celebrate the milestone. To him, this was not about the stock price, it was about building something long-term. Now, Lenskart's IPO comes at a time when India's consumer tech and retail space is seeing a wave of listings from Mamaearth to Ola Electric. But the market has grown cautious. Investors have started asking questions. Questions like, are these valuations sustainable? Are these companies profitable yet? And do they have long-term growth beyond the hype? In Lenskart's case, it has a strong presence, both online and offline, across India, Southeast Asia and the Middle East. But the eyewear market, while growing, is still niche compared to sectors like fintech or e-commerce. So while Lenskart's business model is solid, it might not justify sky-high valuations, at least for now. So why was the listing neutral? Here is the short answer. High expectations, high valuations. A fading grey market premium, skepticism from seasoned investors, and a cautious mood in the broader market. So what's next for Lenskart? The company calls it day zero, a fresh start. Investors, on the other hand, seem to be saying, show us the numbers first. Either way, it's clear. The real test for Lenskart is not just about listing day. It's about proving that its vision has a truly clear vision.